This is Ray.
And this is Andy.
And this is FDS Local Sports.
How's it going today, Ray?
It's going pretty good, Andy. Where's all your Cleveland Browns stuff?
Let's not talk about it. Moving on.
No Cleveland Browns talk this week?
No. I have to support the podcast for once.
All right. Well, there's no Bills talk either this week.
No. Well, that's good news.
Let's get into some other football talk, Andy.
Let's do it.
How about some AUS? We had two very exciting football games in the AUS this week. Game number one was a huge game for your Mount Allison Mounties.
It was.
Because they were down in Halifax taking on St. Mary's University, and the Mounties needed to win this game to stay alive in that playoff race for the Loney Bowl.
It was huge, and you and I were both very close to this game. You were officiating in it, and I was down and out with the flu and wasn't able to actually do anything with my life but tune in on AUS.TV.
AUS
so
television,
I caught the
folks.
entire team. By the way, you were on camera a lot, and I'm going to let you know, you could tell that you knew.
Yeah?
You were playing up for the camera a little bit there. There was this one first down call you were just aching to call. No, it was a recovered fumble. Anyway, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it?
Yeah.
I was a little amped up for the game this week. One of the guys I work with got me a sugar-free Rockstar, so I was flying on Saturday.
Ray doesn't even drink coffee, so he gets one of those into him. I'm sure it was nothing but trouble.
It was crazy.
That explains a lot.
Let's get into the game because this was a crazy game, and very early into the first quarter, Andy, it might have been the fourth or fifth play of the game.
Yep.
The star of the AUS this year, the guy that we've been talking the most about and has a good chance to win the most valuable offensive player, outstanding player, that is, and that's Caleb Scott, goes down in this game and leaves the game with a leg injury.
It was a tough moment for St. Mary's, and it was kind of a tough play too. I mean, it was flagged for unnecessary roughness, and I guess you have to do that. When you look at it, two Mounties were rushing and were getting to him. The first Mountie to get, I believe it was Skyler and Cormier, but I'm not 100% sure. The first guy was getting there, and it's almost like he tripped on a blocker.
Yeah.
So he was falling low into Caleb Scott and hit him real low, like rolled right up on him. And at the same time, Cormier was busting through and hit him high. The knee got contorted. The ankle got contorted. At the end of the day, we don't know what it was, but it was a full leg cast. So, the first thing I thought was perhaps a high ankle sprain, which is almost a knee injury in itself, which takes a while to heal, but we don't know for sure. We have no idea. We have no update on Caleb Scott. But I was thinking, selfishly, Ray, as much as I don't like to see the star of the league go out like that, I was thinking, well, my Mounties, I have to put that aside. It's a water under the bridge. Now my Mounties get to capitalize on playing the backup quarterback to stay alive in this playoff race. How did that go?
Well, the quarterback that came in, his name is Cameron Verlardo, and Cameron played like a star himself.
Did he ever, Ray?
Cameron comes in, goes 8 for 12, Andy, 139 yards, and he also rushed for 54 yards, almost Caleb Scott-like, and ran the ball in for a touchdown. This kid came in, and you made a comment to me that he looks like a fullback playing quarterback. He is a stocky kid with a good arm.
Solid guy, yeah.
And I'll tell you, when he was in there, he had great command of the offense right from the start.
He could run the ball like a running back, and you mentioned his arm, and that can't be understated. There were some plays where he was rolling out to his left, and he's a right-handed thrower. And what he could put on it was very impressive. So this kid, dare I say, and the announcers that were calling the game on AUS TV even ventured to say it a little bit, that there's not a huge drop-off from Caleb Scott to his backup. Yeah. I mean, clearly there is one, but it's not anywhere near what you would think. And this didn't help the Mounties at all.
It didn't help the Mounties. And what else didn't help the Mounties is they just couldn't get that offense going
themselves.
Troy Downton came out 13 for 25, only 112 yards passing with 2 interceptions. Keel Ambersley had a good game, 102 yards rushing with a touchdown. And finally, Chris Reed was back on the field. Touched the ball 8 times for 28 yards and a touchdown. Yeah,
they gave him a goal line play early on. That first drive of the game after the St. Mary's scored in the first drive, and we're thinking, well, the Mounties have to respond. And did they ever? Kyle Ambersley just ran the ball all the way
the
down
entire
the field. The entire field. They get down to the goal line. They hand it to Chris Reed, who's back. He gets the touchdown. You're thinking, all right, they're going to run all over them today. But that was as good as it got, Ray, and it was really disappointing from that time, from that moment on. Well,
the only thing I don't understand about the Mounties, and I need to go back and look at the rest of their games from the year, but it seems every time the Mounties get tight into a ball game, when they get pinned in their end zone, their coach is calling for the punter to take a knee in the end zone for a safety. Yeah. I've seen this now numerous times this season, and I just don't get it. I don't believe in giving yourself a hole by giving these safeties up so easily.
Right, and I believe they did it twice in this game. I could be wrong, but I believe they did give up the safety twice. I don't think wind was as much of a factor as the last game. They did this a couple of times where it kind of bit them, but you tell me, you were out there on the field. Was it pretty windy?
It was pretty windy out there. It was pretty windy.
I mean, they've got a heck of a punter with like that big backup quarterback.
Number 12,
his name is escaping me at the moment, but they've got a good punter, and I agree with you, Ray. And there was a lot of they didn't help themselves. They had a shot to get a field goal to end the half, to get it a little closer. They got down there. They ended up taking. Can you tell me what that penalty actually was? Something about time. Was it just the play clock run out?
Yeah, it was a time violation. The referee had blown. He waited to. They were out of timeouts.
Yeah.
The referee waited a few seconds for them to send out their offense. Once that ball's placed, he's got to blow time in. Time was blown in, and he held the offense at the bench trying to figure out what they were going to run.
And that backed up the Mounties. They attempted the field goal, and it was wide left, and it wasn't even enough for a Rouge. They were able to return it, and that they may have made that kick if they didn't get that penalty. So
that's it.
They definitely didn't help themselves.
No,
not in this game.
St. Mary's wins this game 28-16, Andy. Let's go over to the next AUS game because this was a good one, too. You had Acadia taking on Bishops. Yep. Acadia needed to win this game to get themselves back in that second seed race in the Loney Bowl, and Acadia did just that. Hunter Grenard, 229 yards passing for 2 touchdowns. They win this game 31-9. Rory Kelly, Moncton's own, had another big game with an interception return for 78 yards. Acadia looked really strong in this game. They were playing Bishops, but let's face it, Bishops has had a couple good weeks, both against Acadia as well as against St. Mary's the week before.
They are no pushover.
And but Acadia comes away with a big win here, 31-9.
And another big story out of this game, Ray, maybe you can clarify, but I hear for the second week in a row, a member of your little officials crew was in this game. He took a big hit and perhaps maybe injured.
Buried by. I'm not sure what's going on with this kid. We're worried about his knee, but I'll tell you right now, I don't know if he was giving the hit or taking the hit. Andy, let's go to the video and have a look.
Okay, I'm watching the play, everybody. Everybody looks okay right now. And everybody's in position. Oh, that's good. Oh, there's a pile. Oh, there's some. Oh, hey, get out of there. Get out of there. Oh, my knee. Oh, my knee. Mama, pass the cookies.
Well, Ray, after seeing that, I can tell you I still don't know whether he took the hit or gave the hit. But please, best wishes to Gary. Please let me know if
Barry.
Please let me know if he's okay. Barry, yes,
Barry.
Sorry about that. Barry Dubai.
Yeah, I've often heard him talk about cookies in the past, but he was crying for cookies there.
I had no idea what he was talking about.
Let's talk about your AUS standings real quick. St. Mary's has clinched the Loney Bowl. They're going to be hosting the Loney Bowl this year. They're 7-0. X is 4-2. Acadia now is 3-3. Mount A is 2-4, and their season is looking very bleak at the moment.
I mean, is it it's not mathematically impossible at this point, but it's incredibly unlikely.
It's incredibly unlikely, but guess what, Andy? Bishops is in last with 0-7, but there's a huge game coming up this weekend at Mount A because Acadia is traveling to Mount A. This is another must-win for Mount A.
Even bigger must-win.
It's even bigger. If they're going to have any mathematical chance of getting into the playoffs, they have to win this one this week.
Let's go Mounties.
There you go. Right. And in your other AUS game, you've got St. FX that's heading off to Bishops. for the second game of the weekend.
Yeah. All right.
That's your AUS wrap-up.
All right. Do you want to talk some high school football?
Let's talk some high school football.
Let's start with the 12-man where the Tantramar Titans were on a bye. All right. Now, this first game, Ray, surprises me a little bit to see it, but I mentioned it last week that perhaps this team coming off their first win could carry a little momentum, get another big win. Fredericton Black Cats take out Moncton High on Friday night, 31-21.
31-21.
So definitely they're rolling. They're rolling right now with 2 in a row. I'm very surprised. I don't believe you were at this game. You didn't ref this game, did you?
No, I didn't ref this game, but I have told you the size of the Fredericton players and that running game, when they were using that run game against Tantramar, I knew this team could put together a strong performance like this, and they did against Moncton. This is really going to change. The only 4 teams are making the playoffs for the 12-man division. This is really going to change the landscape of those 4 teams that are looking to get into the playoffs.
For sure, Ray. The Tantramar is already clinched, but other than that, it's wide open.
It's wide open.
And, Moncton High is at 2-2-1 now, and Fredericton's at 2-3. So
wow.
So this could get really, really interesting. The next game, which was also Friday, St. John was visiting Laudacy. St. John won that game 33-14. We don't have a lot of details on that one either.
I was the referee on that one.
Let's get some details.
I was the referee in this one. This was a good football game by two strong programs as well. All I can tell you about this one is it was a very chippy game in a solid mist. It was a cold, misty night, and it was a very chippy game between these two teams. And all I can tell you, players, is when that whistle goes, the play's supposed to be over.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
You're getting lectured right now if you're watching this.
Next game.
That's trouble. Well, just real quickly, that puts St. John at 2-3. Obviously, they have a tiebreaker over Fredericton that we were talking about, so they actually are in the playoffs. In the playoff picture at the moment, though, they're clinging on. Let's just put it that way.
There you go.
Leo Hayes visited Riverview. Riverview wins this game 36-28. A little closer than I even thought it was going to be. That was on Saturday, Ray, and I believe somebody hooked us up with some stats on this one.
For Riverview High. So Riverview High beat Leo Hayes 36-28 in this game.
Yeah.
Riverview was up 36-14 and midway through the fourth quarter, Andy, and Leo Hayes came back and scored 2 fourth quarter touchdowns.
Woo.
So they made a game of it in the fourth quarter. Our good buddy Logan Grossman throws 3 touchdowns in this game, including a 60-yard touchdown to Nathan Traits, which you can see right here in front of us.
Wow.
Brady Morris, the running back, had 2 rushing touchdowns. And listen to this one, Andy. Wesley Riley has a huge game for the Royals with 3 interceptions and a recovered fumble.
Wow.
So there you go. Royals win this one, and that was a much-needed win for the Royals, and they pretty well sew up that second seed in the 12-man division.
Wow. Well, very exciting, and great job, Logan, friend of show. On to 10-man, Ray. I'm going to have to eat a little crow here in a second. All right, but we'll get to that. The first game, James M. Hill Tommies fall to Oromocto, an extremely strong team, 36-6. I don't think that surprised us very much. Another game, an absolute rout, which I believe we have some stats or details on. Harborview falls to St. Malachy's 55-0.
55-0.
What can you tell me about this one?
Running back Alex McDonald puts up 200 yards on the ground with 3 rushing touchdowns. Kelvin O'Donnell, another running back, has 130 all-purpose yards with a touchdown, and QB Matt Morton has a rushing touchdown as well. These guys just played dominant football from start to finish all day.
Dominant win. All right, Ray, these next 2 games, oh boy, here we go. So last week I decided to try my hand at predicting these high school games along with Danny Duran and his crew that write for our website. And I believe I just picked 2 games. You know, I followed what we sometimes do on our professional football podcast, and I called a upset of the week and a lock of the week. Now, my lock of the week, Ray, was École Saint-Anne, Les Castors. I thought they were going to handle Harrison Trimble at home, and I called it out there. and Trimble heard me. Coach Mark Teed heard me. And though the Castall heard me too. And this was a hard-fought game. Unfortunately, my call was incorrect. Not unfortunately for Harrison Trimble, obviously, and good job, guys, for responding. Trimble takes this game 34-30. A hard-fought victory against the Castors at home. Big win for Trimble.
Big win for Trimble. They needed that one for the playoffs.
Now this next one, Ray. I almost take this personally. But that's okay because I think they took it a little personally too. So I decided to call an upset last week. I thought the recipe was there. MVHS, my hometown, Miramichi, Newcastle side, not the Chatham side. We already talked about them. They were primed for their first victory, and I thought Matthew Martin might have been the team to do it, the Matadors. Despite the fact that we have friends on that team, and I meant no disrespect whatsoever. Well, I think Dan Comfort and his staff and the head coach over there heard it, and they were a little upset. And they not only were they upset, they knew they were going to my hometown, Miramichi, Ray, the town that we believe Seth escaped.
Yeah,
and we're gonna find out. And they absolutely embarrassed me and the Pulamu of MVHS, 49-0. And
49-0.
And I do take it personally, but I also feel like I owe Matthew Martin an apology.
An apology.
You demanded one with a 49-0 victory. So well done, guys. Ray, I've decided to retire from predicting high school football games.
You're done.
Yep. So I'm going out with an 0-2 record. And there's a lot of professional football coaches out there that would be happier with that than the way they really did retire. So I'll just leave it at that.
All I can tell you is Dan Comfort is going to take some comfort in hearing that news.
Hey, listen, this is not the comfort zone right now. That was very difficult. Moving on, Rothsay faces off against Sussex. Sussex took them out at home 20-6, Ray.
Okay.
And then why don't we talk about another big rout?
Another big rout.
My gosh. So St. Stephen's takes out Simon 62-6. So of course, with a game in which 62 points were scored, we got some stats.
Listen,
Can I run through a few of them?
Nothing has changed from St. Stephen from the weeks before to this week. Big stars of this game: Kyle Stewart, Hunter Milligan, Luke Ross. Between the three of those guys, they had 7 touchdowns, Andy.
Wow.
7 rushing touchdowns. They threw for a total just under 90 yards total, but ran on the ground for well over 300 yards.
Gotcha.
These guys are a running team. Number 80, Ethan Scooten is his name. He received a touchdown pass for 55 yards, so that was the one big receiving play they had. This kid plays U16. He's also quite a run blocker. And their defense, again, Daryl Farrell, Nicholas McCullum, Jamie Rideout, Harrison Joyner. You've heard me mention these kids all year, folks. This is a good football team. And head coach Neil Grant has wanted me to tell you guys that 10-man is real football.
Woo. All right. Well, 62-6 is a real rout, too.
There you go.
All right. Well done, guys. Now, listen, there's only one game left. And again, you told me not to talk about it.
I forgot about
Bernice
this game.
McNaughton versus KV. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence you told me not to talk about this. So am I going to get some good news here, Ray? What's going on?
Well, listen, you know what? Our little reporter that we've been very concerned about, he has gotten back in touch with us.
Okay.
And I don't know how it's even possible, Andy, because last time we saw our reporter, Seth Foster, he was in a little bit of trouble in the Miramichi.
That's not a place you want to be in trouble in, but I believe I gave him some advice. Let's hope he followed it. How about we turn it over to Seth?
All right, here we go. We're heading over to our special reporter, Seth Foster. Seth, tell me first, how did you get away from all those wolves?
So yeah, this is Seth Foster reporting back to you guys from First Down Sports. And man, those wolves, they were sure scary, but I just really gave her to the Pizza Delight. And this waitress named Sandra, she was just so helpful. She made it feel like home, the buffet was also great. But on my way back to Moncton, I took the wrong exit and wound up in KV. What a coincidence. Bernice McNaughton game versus KVHS. Great. It was a great game. It was really close. And the kicking was unreal. There was 5 total field goals in 2 rouges. And the one Rouge was started off on the kickoff, the first play of the game. The KVHS D-line was great in the first half, but in the second half, it was kind of a different story. The BMHS O-line really picked it up. The KVHS short pass worked a lot of the time. Isaac LeBlanc, the kicker for BMHS, had 3 field goals, one with 42 seconds left in the game, and it was about a 40-yard field goal. In high school football, you don't see that much, so that's really good. The game went back and forth, and like I said, BMHS hit a field goal to go up 3 points with 45 seconds left. You'd think the game would be over, but no. KVHS marched down the field and hit a field goal with 8 seconds left. What a nail-biter. Bernice McNaughton had one more chance to go down the field with 2 plays. One of them was called back, and it was a 30-yard pass, so creds to them. But their next one was just shut down quickly. So the game ended in a tie, 15-15. I'm super excited to see next week's game versus Oromocto and BMHS. It's going to be great. Seth Foster, see you next time.
All right, Andy. Seth is alive. He's doing well.
Yep.
Thank goodness. I didn't want First Down Sports to be responsible for sending this kid on his own to Miramichi to cover that game.
Yep.
Whew. Good thing for Sandra.
I'd like to thank my mom and the entire staff of Pizza Delight, which is really the best landmark in Newcastle that you can really ask for looking after Seth. And everything sounds good.
Well, I'm telling you, I hear a sponsorship right around the corner from Pizza Delight. And
I hear you. Yeah, let's look into that. And, Seth escaped in time to cover one heck of a game.
There you go.
One heck of a kicking game.
Listen, before we get out of here, Andy, I got one more thing I got to talk to you about, because guess what's starting up on November the 17th here in Moncton at the new Avenir Center downtown?
I think it might be some hoops.
Some hoops? That's right. The Moncton Magic is going to be back on the court playing basketball on November the 17th. And your buddy, your pal, your best friend, Duncan, will be there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I forgot all about Duncan. Again, I'm outside the comfort zone again here, folks.
Duncan the Dragon will be there, and Andy's going to have some special reports on how Duncan's doing throughout the season.
Only I think I can guarantee he's never dunked a ball in his life, that Dragon.
We're going to find out. But guess what, Andy? To kick off the Moncton Magic season, we talked a lot about these guys last year. Well, we got a special treat for our viewers and our listeners, because head coach Joe Salerno is going to be in studio tomorrow, along with one of the players on the Magic, and that's point guard Jahari Carson will also be here as well. We're going to have video interviews as well as podcast interviews. You'll be able to find those on our website, on anywhere where you listen to podcasts, and tune into our Facebook and social media pages where you can watch the videos for these interviews as well.
Absolutely. We'll be posting that shortly after you see this. All right, guys, that's it for the week. Have a good one.
Thanks again.